I will be recording this speech.
Do you know what is the most northern country in Europe? Today, I'll tell you a bit about Norway. I've always known about Norway because I've always been interested in Vikings, and now I'm interested in Norway because of their uniqueness from the rest of Europe. First, I'll tell you about a few cultural aspects of Norway. Then, I'll tell you about some of their communication behaviors. And lastly, I'll tell you about something that's going on in Norway right now. Let me begin by talking about Norwegian culture. Norway's Arctic landscapes have shaped many of its traditions and culture. Norway is very close to the ocean, so seafood is very common. Fish is popular, obviously, and also porridge and meat cakes. The most popular fish are salmon, cod, and shrimp. Storytelling has also been popular in Norway since the Viking days. According to Britannica Encyclopedia's entry on Norway in the section Cultural Life, stories of trolls, giants, and warlike gods have been passed down from generations to generations. It almost makes me think of like Marvel Thor, the way that they share those stories. I'm sure it's very cool and they make it seem almost like it's a movie. Just when they're telling the stories, I'm sure they have great backgrounds and just they make it seem great. Norwegians also love to read, and I know this because they're one of the world's leaders in books per capita. Now that I've told you about their amazing culture, let me move on and talk about some of their unique communication behaviors. Norway is pretty similar to the countries that it's closest with, but there are differences that make Norway unique. According to Gert Hofstede and Michael Minkoff's page, What About Norway, updated in 2010, Norway is an individualistic society. Norwegians take care of themselves and their loved ones. I would compare their individualistic society to one similar to like ours in the United States of America. Norway also has a low power distance. Independence and equal rights are very important to them. For example, a manager puts trust in his workers. Like if there was a big project or that needed to be done, a manager would be fine just handing off the work to one of his employees, or maybe we would see them as a lower over here, but they're more equal in Norway. They don't like powers, they don't like figures of control and figures of power. Now that I've told you a little bit about their communication behaviors, now let me tell you about something that's going on in Norway today. Norway is trying to do its part in the Russian-Ukrainian war. According to an article, Nordic countries plan joint air defense to counter Russian threat by Al Jazeera News. Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark have come together to create a fleet comparable to a large European power. Norway itself has contributed 94 fighter jets to this fleet, and that's about a fourth of the entire thing. The four countries originally came together when Russia first attacked Ukraine last February. The four countries decided that they would be a more powerful alliance together than they would be on their own. Their main goal of coming together to form an alliance was to upgrade their airspace around them. They wanted to use the radars from each of their planes to be able to signal to each other what was going on so they could keep themselves and each other safe. They just want to do what they can to help out the world. With that said, let me conclude. First, I told you about Norway's unique culture and then about their communication behaviors. And lastly, I told you about what Norway is doing to help Ukraine. I hope this information about Norway has inspired you to learn more about the world around us. Talk, or thank you.
I have recorded this great speech.